What's up? Welcome to this channel called Tales Tomorrow. It is I, Morrow, your VTuber D&D tiefling, out here to present you with more RPG horror story cringe. Told you I'd change up the intro from last video, but either way, enough of something different. Let's get to what we all love, or hate, or love-hate. RPG horror stories for today. How dare you add a pond? So a very long time ago, I joined an RPG game with my friends from Discord. It was a completely homebrewed system not based on anything. The DM also had no prior experience being a DM or playing any other RPG games. He just decided it would be fun to play some sort of custom game, I guess. And then shortly after that, never actually ran the game. He did sometimes, and I do mean only sometimes, run an NPC to describe the environment or world building. All there was a tavern, the ruins of a town, and a vast grassland outside of the town. There was, to my knowledge, not a damn thing else. One day I get to role-playing with another character, and to set the scene, I describe us sitting in a grassland next to a pond. Out of nowhere, very suddenly, the DM comes down on me, and the other players scold us both for overstepping and acting as the DM, when we were just players. Guess this wide grassland with hills just never at all have a pond form. Rain just evaporated as soon as it hit the ground, I guess. This guy did just about nothing with the game world, and was very second that anyone decided to do anything with it other than just putz around this boring sandbox, he took grave offense to it. A whole lot of nothing happened, and the character that I was playing previously died due to a sudden invasion of totally cool, totally epic, totally edgy, and unoriginal evil elf guys just kind of coming to town and stabbing my guy in the throat. Jesus Christ. Imagine just dying because you're like, I sit next to this other player next to a pond. Wrong! How dare you put a pond in my game? You do my DM's job. Maybe a lake? No! How dare you put a lake in my game? I never said there was a lake. How dare you? You're overstepping your boundaries. A puddle? No, there's no puddle. How dare you overstep your boundaries again? How dare you? Keep talking like that. I'll send edgy elves to kill you. Dude, I'm just trying to come up with something. You gave me nothing to work with here. The guy just going like, I sit next to another player near a pond, because maybe there's a pond around. It only makes sense at grasslands to have some sort of a pond nearby, maybe by the tavern or something. I don't know. Has some frogs swimming in it, have some tiny fishies. I don't know. Maybe it's like a decorative pond made out of, I don't know, specifically built as like a little water feature for the tavern. The guy's trying to work with what he has, and he has nothing. And the DM and other players are scolding him for working with nothing. And then suddenly out of nowhere, edgy elves show up and just kill the character by stabbing in the throat. Wow. Over a pond. Over trying to just guess there's a pond in the world. What a crime. Not long after I rolled up a different character, the DM suddenly decides to have Mike Pence suddenly appear in a bolt of lightning screaming about purging the gays and destroying all the wokesters. I wish I were making this up. I really do wish this actually didn't happen, and that this absolute brain rot didn't have to be put into words. After that I left, and now I see that just as bad memory. I suppose there's a lesson in all this. Make sure your DM actually gives a crap. So I just wanted to get that off my chest. That's about it. See ya. Right, so we can't have a pond, but we can have edgy elves and Mike Pence screaming about purging the wokies, or the gays and stuff. Huh? Actually, I think you did a good job just leaving. Jesus Christ. Guys, be very careful about adding ponds to your game worlds. The biggest threat of 2024, adding a pond, an imaginary pond. Anyway, let's get to the next story for today. Player beats off to my voice and gets caught. Jesus Christ. Greetings and hello, I'm Kyo, a perma-GM of many years. I run God knows how many games at this point, so I have a fair amount of horror stories, but this one is particularly egregious, but I still laugh at it and decide on a whim to type it up while I'm bored at work. Most of the interactions of the problem player could be passed off as playing a particularly horny swashbuckler, and I chose to ignore the mounting red flags because, haha, who the frick is going to touch themselves in the middle of a session? Somebody will definitely try it. 100%. For whatever reason, when playing TTRPGs, the horny comes out with some people. It's rare, but it does. Well, multiple things come out. You know what I mean. Let's keep going. I'm a straight man that is somewhat important to the story, and as a preface, I don't care what your particular enjoyment of another human genitals lean. The setting is Pathfinder 1, a homebrew campaign, but the theme was random adventure and just being guild members and adventurers with a very large open world feel on Roll20. I had 4 players in a particular instance. 3 of them were normal players, nothing noteworthy about them in terms of the story. The gnome wizard emotionally hurt me and my gibbering mouthers. A gnome illusionist wizard, nice dude, he was very creative with his illusions. A human cleric of Shellin, she was friendly but quiet, combat was more her thing. Half-orc fighter, he was a pretty normal fighter, he was a spear and shield. Captain Fap. Captain Fap played a male elven swashbuckler. He professed he was gay. Session 0. Session 0 goes quite well. We get the plot and themes, player wants and limits on what they want to see in the campaign. There were no real red flags aside from Captain saying he finds my voice attractive. I tell him I'm flattered but not interested in using D&D to find relationships as one of my rules. We're here to smash dragon heads in, not fellow players. He seemed to take this in grace and understanding. No problem, right? I freaking wish. Wait, I thought this was Pathfinder and you mentioned D&D? Probably a mistype. I mean, they're kind of similar, though don't tell to some people. Some people are just gonna be very vehement, be like, Pathfinder's not like D&D, or D&D is not like Pathfinder. Also, the hyperlink message, don't worry about it. It literally just shows a, TF2 spy basically playing bungee cord with the rope, but not around the legs, if you know what I mean. Session 1, the players are introduced to the bartender, a retired adventurer and an old character of mine living out his dreams and helping new adventurers by filtering them to safe quests, while more dangerous ones go to more experienced quests. His name is Belkath. I like to start my sessions off by allowing each character to introduce themselves to him while he serves them a drink that gives them a small boost for the next level of session. Magical drinks that cost things like you feel the sense of righteousness, might, and sense to purge justice. Gain +2 on new attacks. The effect of the drink are based on D20 roll. Players roll initiative. Gnome gets potion that made his feel the same elation and wonders of the first time he casts a spell. Fighter gets a potion that made him feel the fear of death grasping at his heart before he steeled himself. Then we get to Captain. Captain gets a drink that reminds him of those feel-good things of summer, whimsy, wonder, etc. To note, the drinks are only alcoholic if the player desires, and unless they roll a natural 1 on fortification, it won't make them drunk unless they wish it to. Oh, I do love a big, strong orc serving me drinks. He then asks to roll diplomacy to attempt to seduce the orc bartender. I tell him I'll allow it, but to make me a perception check first. He rolls a perception check and passes. I tell him, you see on the orc's hand is a wedding ring, leaving no uncertain terms that he was married. I roll my diplomacy anyway. I tell the orc, if you keep serving me drinks like this, I might just have to put a ring on you. Now, I allow for players to flirt with my NPCs or even date them. I just fade to black if things get down and dirty. Belkath, being a man of good humor, replies with a loud laugh that fills the bar. I'm flattered, kid, but I'm in a committed relationship. My love of my wife burns hotter than her breath. Now, I make Belkath marry for 3 reasons. 1, he is 18th level fighter and I do not wish to have a DNPC. I just want to be able to roleplay as my first character. 2, his wife is an elder silver dragon that he impressed when he fought her to a standstill. 3, it gives me a reason to have a strong spellcaster that can craft any items I need that they would struggle to buy or find normally. Oh, I don't mind being your side piece. I laughed it off and move on. Swashbuckler's gone as swashbuckler. The cleric gets a drink that makes her feel like someone is watching her, giving her a bonus to her perception. The session goes on and no real issue. A little bit of roleplay flirting as long as everybody cool at the table. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm assuming the swashbuckler's gonna really push the envelope if the title says anything at all. Session 2, there were no real red flags that I would have noticed during the session. Rather just things I see now and retrospectively. Captain would breathe heavily occasionally on mic, passing it off as having to go off and do something and hurrying to get back. Sure, it's D&D, people from heavier side of things are fairly common. Captain continues to flirt with random NPCs, teetering the line between safe for work flirting and not safe for work flirting. We're all adults, so it's whatever. Again, you mentioned D&D. I'm curious, was it Pathfinder or was it D&D? This gotta be like a mistypo. Like, I understand sometimes when you like get like a muscle memory. I remember at some point I had a muscle memory for Final Fantasy XIV, right? The abbreviation being FFXIV. And a lot of the times when I would type in something like maybe like the word found or something, I would just muscle memory FFXIV instead of writing any other word that starts on F. And for whatever reason, it just was difficult to break it. So maybe it's muscle memory, or maybe you guys were playing D&D, or maybe Pathfinder. There's something going on. I'm missing the context, but let's continue. Session 3, 4, and 5, everything continues as usual, except Captain starts muting himself so he doesn't bleed from the mic. He would do this for 4 to 5 minutes at a time and only once or twice a session. So makes sense if he is doing running like he said he is. Session 6, the cluster frickening. We're about halfway through a small dungeon crawl. and they're starting to approach the boss a bit. After a break and doing a ready check for players, we begin the boss's monologue. I'm getting into a good pace, blah blah blah, you'll never defeat me, puny adventurers. Then we hear from his mic a weird noise, like flesh slapping flesh. Rapidly, the call goes quiet. The only noise is slapping flesh and heavy panting. Fucking ew. What the frick? Swashbuckler, what the hell are you doing? Swashbuckler quickly mutes himself and starts to type in chat, saying he was slapping his leg out of boredom. I'm a seasoned GM and I take no crap from bad players, so naturally I banned him from the server, booted him from the game on Roll20, and blocked him personally, as did the other players. I didn't quite know how to continue from there, so we ended the session. The fighter quit the game not long after, no longer wishing to be a part of it. The campaign died before we hit session 7. Thanks for reading, hope you enjoy my suffering, and unwittingly helping a dude get his rocks off without my knowledge. I'm sorry that happened to you, honestly, this is messed up. Like, at the end of the day, even if you have a nice voice, the least thing you can do, even if you find somebody attractive, the least thing you could do is have some sort of decency and respect to not freaking fap at the table. Or just do any of that. Focus on the damn game and then go beat off to your fetishes afterwards. If you need a bit of a fap break to like watch some hentai or something, then ask for that without saying you need a hentai break. Just say, can we get like a 5-minute break real quick? But to fap to another person's voice while they're midway and having it so embarrassingly be displayed and heard by everybody, first of all, fucking gross. Second of all, what the fuck? Some people have no decency whatsoever. Like, I admit, like behind the scenes, when I'm not being Morrow, I am a filthy degenerate and I love everything horny. But not to that fucking extent. Who the fuck does that sort of thing? I understand sexual humor and stuff like that, but to do it seriously for real? What the fuck, dude? What the fuck is wrong with this guy? I'm sorry that happened to you, OP. I hope you have better games and no more fapping calls for anybody. I wish you the best, OP, and I hope you find a game that you don't have to be objectified in like this, because fucking gross, dude. Fucking gross. And with that, that's gonna be all our stories for today. I want to thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for being here. If you like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. Also, if the RPG Horror Stories ever goes down, or if you want to submit your own personalized horror story, email is down in the description below. I'll see you again in more Tales tomorrow. Bye-bye.